There's been a lot of talk lately about a new implant put out by Motiva that is not FDA approved for breast reconstruction. And I've seen people talking on different forums about whether or not we can use it in reconstruction. And one of the comments was, no, they can't use it in reconstruction because it's off label. That's actually not true. Let's talk about what it means to be off label. So off label just means that it's not FDA approved for that indication. We actually do a fair amount of off label stuff. For example, acellular dermal matrix, or alloderm, which is very commonly used in breast reconstruction, is off label. Your insurance will cover it. A lot of plastic surgeons use it. I don't, but that's a different story. But it's off label. It's FDA approved for things like hernia, but it's not FDA approved for breast reconstruction, but we still use it. Now, the reason why a lot of surgeons haven't yet adopted the Motiva implants is a lot more complicated, and it really doesn't have to do with the off-label versus on-label. When you work in a large hospital system, like I do, we typically have contracts with different implant manufacturers. We have those types of contracts for all of our instruments, our sutures, every supply that we use. When you have large contracts, you can imagine that we get the implants for cheaper than if you were just buying a few implants. We call that a consignment. We have implants available to us in the hospital. We don't have to special order implants for every case we do. So the hospital is not super motivated to bring in another, for example, implant manufacturer if that threatens the contract we already have with a different implant manufacturer. The same goes for things like wound care dressings and wound vacs. So if we as surgeons want to bring something new to the hospital, we have to do this whole big litany of proposals and meetings and red tape and paperwork to prove to the hospital system that it's going to benefit the patients, it's going to be cost effective. Once again, nothing to do with on-label or off-label. But this is why private practice plastic surgeons who don't have this amount of red tape can have access to newer things faster. That makes sense? This was a long-winded discussion, but I hope it makes sense about off-label versus on-label and why it really has nothing to do about what we can and can't do in breast reconstruction.